Surviving the Black Death, the cures that killed faster than the plague. In the mid-14th century, a shadow fell across Europe. It spread silently at first, hitching rides on ships and caravans, carried by fleas, rats, and human breath. Within just a few years, it had become the most devastating pandemic in recorded history. The people called it many names: the Great Pestilence, the Great Mortality, the Black Death. It killed with terrifying speed, leaving swollen buboes, blackened skin, and death within days. But for those who survived its first strike, another danger awaited them, the very cures that were meant to save. This is the story of desperate remedies, misguided science, and the lethal cures that often killed faster than the plague itself. A world unprepared. The year was 1347. A ship docked in Sicily carried more than cargo. It carried death. By the time the Black Death reached mainland Europe, entire towns were already succumbing. But medieval medicine was not equipped to understand disease. Doctors believed illness came from an imbalance of the body's humours: blood, phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile. Others blamed bad air, planetary alignments, or divine punishment. In such a world, medicine was not guided by science, but by superstition, astrology, and desperate trial. Bloodletting and the knife. One of the oldest cures was bloodletting. Doctors, known as barber surgeons, would cut open veins or apply leeches to drain the poison from the body. For plague victims already weakened, this was a death sentence. They bled until they fainted. Some bled until they never woke again. The idea was simple: if sickness was in the blood, let the blood out. But the result was cruel irony. The body, already battling infection, was robbed of its strength. The fires and the smoke. Another popular belief was that plague spread through miasma, poisoned air. To counter this, households filled rooms with thick smoke from burning herbs, sulfur, or even animal dung. Some burned fragrant woods. Others set entire fires in the streets to purify the air. Instead of healing, the choking fumes suffocated the sick, worsening the agony. And yet, desperate families clung to these rituals, hoping each cough of smoke carried death away. Strange brews and deadly potions, medieval apothecaries offered endless remedies. Victims swallowed crushed emeralds, ground pearls, and potions laced with mercury or arsenic. These cures were expensive and often fatal. Mercury burned the throat and poisoned the body from within. Arsenic destroyed organs faster than the plague could. But when faced with death, even poison seemed worth the risk. The flagellants. Not all cures came from the physician's hand. Some came from the whip. Believing the plague was God's punishment, groups known as flagellants roamed from town to town. They marched barefoot, whipping themselves in public squares until blood flowed, begging God for mercy. Crowds gathered, chanting prayers and tears, but wherever the flagellants went, the plague followed, carried on their very bodies. Instead of salvation, they spread infection. The fragrant and the absurd, other cures now seem absurd. Doctors wore long robes with strange bird-like masks, filled with sweet-smelling herbs turned in the safety of the world. Some wall became no longer than the other. People carried flowers, cloves, and vinegar-soaked cloths, believing scent itself was a shield. Some rubbed onions, crushed snakes, or even human excrement on plague sores, thinking it would draw out disease. The sores did not heal. They festered. The real killer. It is easy to laugh at these cures today, but in truth they reveal the desperation of a world without answers. The Black Death was not only a biological killer, it was a psychological one. The fear of sickness drove men and women to attempt anything, no matter how dangerous. For many, the cure killed more swiftly than the plague. What survived? And yet, through all the smoke, the bleeding, and the poison, humanity endured. The Black Death would return again and again over the centuries, but each time, knowledge grew. Slowly, medicine shed superstition and embraced observation. The cures that once killed paved the way for discoveries that would save. Somber music, visual of empty medieval streets, fading into modern hospitals. The Black Death claimed tens of millions of lives. But for those who survived, the scars of fear and faith ran deep. It taught humanity a cruel lesson, that ignorance can be as deadly as disease, and that in times of desperation, the line between cure and poison is often razor thin.